we can get FM signal going here for Wham Talk 1600, right? It'd be awesome. It really would. We'd be able to reach more people. We'd be able to get we have awesome content here, and more people need to reach this content and be aware of it and educate themselves through Wham's content. The FM signal will be clear and present 24 hours a day, which is awesome. And you can help get these out by going to GoFundMe.com, put Wham Radio in the search bar, and give whatever you can afford to give. It's really important for us to do this, and it's my personal dream. So please, let's get all our good content out on the FM airways by going to GoFundMe.com, Wham Radio. Okay, aren't you excited about that? I'm super excited.
Yes. I mean, you and I will come across in clear FM.
Yes,
you know?
Yes, I want to do this. I really do. It's important to me, folks, and it should be important to you because then you can get all this great content clearly and
important. It's important to the revolution. It's important to saving America.
The revolution will be broadcast on FM radio here at Wham Talk 1600.
The revolution will be broadcast.
Okay, so I loved some of the news this week. We've got the Singapore summit is back on, and North Korea is going to sit down with America, with President Trump and North Korean Chairman Kim Jong-un. And we laughed 2 weeks ago, right? I kind of said this. Derek, you got track one ready? This is from our 2 weeks ago show. And I was kind of laughing about it. And when I heard the news this week about Dennis Rodman possibly being in Singapore, I laughed, right? Go ahead and play that track. This is from 2 weeks ago. Oddly enough, I don't think Kim Jong-un is exactly like his dad. I'm sure he likes to drink booze and womanize and everything else just like his dad.
He had Western exposure,
But he had Western exposure. The fact that one of his best friends in the world is Dennis Rodman, right? and if I were Donald Trump, I'd say, you know what, Kim Jong-un, why don't you just come to the U.S., forget Singapore. Have the Chinese President Xi, come with you and stay with you, right? So you're protected. Nothing's going to happen to the Chinese president, right? Mm-hmm. And if they're together, he's protected. Come on over. Have Dennis Rodman meet him at the airport. Have Dennis stay with him. Nothing's going to happen when the president's there from China and Dennis Rodman. You'll be as safe as you could possibly be. All right. Prophetic? Yes. Once again, the drift, cutting edge.
Yeah. I mean, why would you listen to your news anywhere else? We'll tell you the news that's going to happen.
It's just out-of-the-box thinking, which is what I like about our government at this point. It's been 18 months. Things, Pastor Rick was just in here saying Mark Cuban was saying the economy would crash under Trump like so many other people, and the economy is just blowing through the roof. But it's important, and I'm waiting to see what will come of it. I'm not hoping I'm hoping, but I don't expect that there be a deal come out of this summit. But I think it'll be a good step toward cutting a deal. And I think if, Dennis Rodman being there is certainly going to make Kim Jong-un, I think, more comfortable and hopefully make him realize there's a greater world than just hiding out in your hermit kingdom of North Korea. You can get out, travel the world, not be a dictator, right? You can be the guy that freed your country, opened your country up. Wouldn't you want that as your legacy, as opposed to being, I'm famous in my country?
I'm the guy that drove our nation into the ground economically.
Yes, and I'm hoping that carrot and stick from the United States and these negotiations is what's happening there. Listen, you can live a normal life amongst the family of nations instead of being secluded in your hermit kingdom. And I'm hoping that something good will come of this. I don't expect it to happen overnight. I think it'll be a series of steps. If they can both come away from this being comfortable building that relationship, right? I think that's the main thing that should come out of the summit down here in Singapore.
I'm trying to read the tea leaves of those three generals that he had. These were big guys, and they got relieved of their commands after. I
didn't hear that.
Oh yeah. Un just recently removed three major generals. One, I can't remember their post, but when I heard their post, that's major. That's like Secretary of Defense kind of stuff level. And they were relieved recently.
Were they the hardliners? Were these like the three guys that were pushing?
I'm imagining so. I'm hoping so. That these guys were resistant to Un meeting with Trump. And so we don't know what their fate was. He has a habit of putting people in front of rocket launchers as a demonstration of.
Isn't that urban? We don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
We always hear those stories. They could be urban legends. It could be myths or whatever. But, yeah, all I'm hoping for is that a relationship building starts. I don't expect anything more to come out of this Singapore summit than we're going to continue talking. We're going to start seeing some regular negotiations. Maybe we'll actually get some kind of a facility or an ambassadorship to go there, start that relationship building, because I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Before you can come to a deal, you got to be comfortable with one another, and I think that's really the most important thing. 734-822-1600 if you want to call into the show and talk about the North Korean summit. I'd love to have you do that. One of the other questions that somebody asked Mike Pompeo in a meeting.
Yeah.
What do we call it when the journalists are there?
Press
conference. Okay. Drawing a blank, right?
A presser.
Worried about whatever deal we can come up with. Is it going to stick? How do you know it's going to stick? What's going to happen? And I loved what I heard from Mike Pompeo. Derek, do you have track 2 ready? All right, this is Mike Pompeo at the press conference when somebody asked him a question about how this deal would it stick. Go ahead and play that.
We have seen in this administration that that when new administrations come in, they can undo things that prior administrations have done. How can President Trump guarantee long-term security for North Korea and for Kim in particular?
We are hopeful that we will put ourselves in a position where we can do something the previous administration didn't do. Right? They signed a flimsy piece of paper, and we're hoping to submit a document that Congress would also have a say in, that would give currency and strength and elongation to the process so that when administrations do change, as they inevitably do, and this one will, 6.5 years from now, when that takes place, that Chairman Kim will have comfort that American policy will continue to down the same path on the course that we hope we're able to set in Singapore.
Okay.
So 6.5 years from now, I like that for one. That's optimistic, and that's at the rate we're going, that's going to be happening. And then the other is, why shouldn't UN be afraid that Democrats would come in and Gaddafi him?
Yeah.
Because we had made a deal with Gaddafi: give up your nukes, you're good, we'll protect you. And then the Clintonistas under Obama went in and killed him.
Yeah,
with the Libyan
and Hillary laughed about it.
Yeah,
and that probably one of the things I hate most about Hillary Clinton when she said, "We came, we saw, he died," and she laughed at the death of another human being.
Yeah,
that
we had made a deal with.
We dodged the biggest evil bullet by not electing that evil woman to the president of the United States, and thank God we did. But Pompeo's right. The deal should be cut. It should be brought before Congress. Congress should ratify the treaty, make it a treaty, and let Kim Jong-un's administration play itself out over time, whether he's there for the rest of his life or whether he gets bored and rich and decides to leave and have an open election. Let that be. But if he's willing to open up his country and disarm the nukes and become a member of the world family, peaceful, then let him stay there until it plays out in his own time. You know what I mean? At some point, he'll want to retire, and there will probably be elections in North Korea at some point. I don't know that you're ever going to see a North and South Korea unification. I just don't see that. Not in our lifetime.
Maybe not a unification, but certainly agreements, economic agreements that would be very similar to that.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Let's take a call from Dick Kupke calling in about Singapore. What? Go ahead, Dick.
Hi, Gary. What I wanted to elaborate on was what I heard about Ed's comments about the 3 generals that were displaced, and that, yes, they were hardliners and stuff, but the concern for Kim Jong-un was that, he doesn't travel much, okay? And what he was concerned about is that these guys were such hardliners and disapproved of this meeting so much that while he was out of the country, that there would be a military coup.
I'd heard other concerns along that line, and I thought, but he has traveled to China, but maybe this is more. I mean, you could be right, but he has left the country for short periods of time before. But this may be closer to the summit, so that that might be a
Well,
anyway,
good, interesting thought.
I heard it. It made sense to me. I really think the guy's sincere in that he probably saw the writing on the wall that I'm not going to get anywhere through force, and if I really want to leave a legacy for North Korea, it'll be bringing it into the free world. So
yeah, and I'm hoping that somebody, maybe it was Dennis Rodman, explained that to him and say, hey, man, you can go down in history as a great guy instead of a villain. Better to be a superhero than a villain, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes the writing on the wall.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
All right, take care, Dick. Thanks. Great thoughts.
Sometimes the writing on the wall can look like that display at NORAD. That's a big wall.
It is a big wall. Let's take a call from Jimmy in Manchester. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, Jimmy.
What do you got?
I want to talk about something other than that, I guess. The G7.
Yep.
Have you noticed? I mean, now we have an actual leader as President of the United States.
Yeah, I have noticed.
In case you didn't notice this. He has gone in there, and the Japanese and the Italians are saying, yeah, where's Russia? This needs to be the G8. We need to have unity. And he's trying to really lead in the world. I'm very impressed. And he's leading these nationalist and these populist movements all over the world. It's very refreshing to see. We're moving away from globalism, and countries are becoming their own sovereign countries again.
Yeah, I don't like everything being centrist by this central globalism, one world thing, because you know what? It concentrates power in one spot, and that's always bad for the people who aren't in that spot, right? So it's good that the nationalism will come back a little bit. Let everybody take care of themselves, and then you can kind of work together in unity as separates, as a confederation instead of a central global government. I don't want a global government.
No.
Because
that makes it the end times. You know what I mean? That's scary. Then you got 7 years, and it's
yeah. Well, you're right, Jimmy. And here's the other thing: ignoring Russia. Who made that decision to just say we're going to ignore Russia?
England was part of
them?
that because of that ex-spy getting poisoned and some of this.
And there are ways
they dissed Russia a long time ago because Russia wouldn't go along with them. Russia was for Russia. They weren't for. They didn't want to. They want to play with everybody else, of course. They want to trade, but they're for themselves, as they should be.
Yeah.
Russia first, America first, Italy first. If that's where you live, you know, come on.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, great comments, Jimmy. Anything else?
No, that's it. I just thought that people were missing that a little bit. I see our president as being not only a great leader in this country, and I think he is, but he's leading the world. He is an amazing human being, really he is.
If nothing else, he is. He's waking the rest of the world up to, you know what, take care of yourselves and your people first, instead of trying to be this global conglomerate of the Rothschilds, the Soroses, and whoever else is behind it. I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and say it's the Illuminati, right, or whoever it is. Call them whatever you want. There is a group of people in this world who want to control everything, and that's not fair.
The banksters.
Right. It's the banksters and the global communists.
Right.
I mean, that's really what it is. They're just... And everybody wants to run around and say, well, fascism's against communism. No, it's not. It's the same thing. Just stop it. Just realize that you have to take care of your own self. I mean, you could call me a fascist because I want to take care of my children and my family first before I do anything else.
Yep.
So does that make me a fascist? Well, if it does, fine. So what?
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate the call.
Pretty thoughtful, Jimmy.
All right. Take care.
Yep. Bye.
All right, so I wanted to get to this next track because people need to get active. You need to be calling your congressman because you've heard of the discharge petition. It's been kind of pandered around the edges, but I don't think it's getting the exposure that it needs to. And I think the GOP elite are doing something bad when we talk about immigration. I think they're kind of a group of them pushing for this amnesty. Right, and they're setting it up in a way that I don't think...
Explain this to me a little more clearly, because I have not really...
Okay, I'm going to let Congressman Zeldin of New York, who's being interviewed on Breitbart, explain it to you, because I'm no more educated than you are. Oh. So let's let the experts talk about it. Derek, you got track 3 together. Go ahead.
Final question, real quick, just a quick follow-up. We've got this discharge petition in the House. Where do we stand on that? Are Republican lawmakers going to be, giving us amnesty, something that, Trump's base obviously doesn't want?
Well, I didn't sign the discharge petition. I actually oppose the discharge petition. I don't. It's a vehicle, in my opinion, that